Hey, Patrick. Long time no talk. The one thing I didn't ask you was, what are you doing nowadays? What's keeping you busy? What's your passion right now?
Yeah, well, right now, just living life truthfully, and there's a couple of projects I have going on at this moment. Um, Doing a little bit of work with a platform called CoachTube, which is an online coaching platform. Right now, primarily caters to coaches, but we're trying to work on some other avenues as we build out. So that's a little bit of my focus these days, and then just living life.
Patrick, it's Cam Inman of the Mercury News. Congratulations. Uh, I want to test your memory bank here. And do you remember what it was like the first and the last time you put on a 49er uniform?
Cam, what's happening? What's happening? I do remember what I remember most about the first time I put on the uniform. It was actually just the shoulder pads, I guess it would be, or trying to think what it was. It would have been my first rookie mini camp. Walking out, that first time with how everything was at the old facility. I remember walking out, and before I walked out those practice doors, you have the what you call it, I call the 49er way, that you can read that wall. I remember as I walked around that wall and I looked out onto the practice field, I remember saying to myself, man, what a journey. What a journey so far, but it's just beginning. This is my new home. I'm going to give it everything I have. And I was like, man, I can't believe I'm a 49er out of all the NFL teams. I'm a 49er because growing up, I was a big Cowboys fan, as I mentioned before. And to be walking out in a 49er uniform, it was different, but it was me. The last time I remember putting on the uniform was October 13th, Monday Night Football against the St. Louis Rams. I call it the last injury. But yeah, those are my two vivid, the ones I remember most.
Hey, Patrick, Jake Hutchinson, CanBR. I'm just wondering sort of what your impression is of Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw sort of taking the mantle from you and Navarro, and sort of how you have seen the linebacker position change over the last few years.
Yeah, man, Dre and Fred, those guys have been playing unbelievable football. They have worked really well together. Fred have done a great job of leading the linebacker core. And for me, I'm really excited to see that. I'm always happy for the next man's success and to be a part of, a linebacker legacy, to leave something behind that others can, grab a hold of and make their own. It feels really special. And Navarro and I, along with those who came before us, only try to do that, and to see them, doing their thing now is it's amazing to see.
Hey, Patrick, Tracy Sandler from Fangirl Sports Network. Congratulations. I was just wondering if you could take us kind of through the emotions of when you found out, how you found out, and what your initial thoughts were.
Yeah, well, hello, Tracy. When I first found out, I was actually on my way to a friend's event. I was actually up in the hills, and I missed a call from Jed, and then I saw some text messages, and then I think it was, I want to say maybe it was Guy that had called me, and I was kind of saying to myself, I'm like, what's going on? And then when they told me, I was just, it always takes me a little bit of time for things to sink in. But it probably won't sink in all the way until after, I'm in there and everything. But, I'm just truly honored and grateful to, get that call. Just honored.
Hey, Patrick, Jennifer, how are you? Congratulations.
I'm sorry, Jennifer, yes. How you doing?
What have you seen for the 49ers were playing. If you return to that luster, maybe like in the 2019 season, what have you seen from the 49ers defense more?
I'm so sorry, Jennifer. I barely could hear you. It was breaking it. It was going in and out on me.
What have you seen from the 49ers defense, maybe from the 2019 season and on? It's kind of returned to its kind of dominance like it did when you were there.
Yeah. I know I'm a firm believer that, the defense, runs the show. I know the offense is pretty and everything, but when you have a defense that's dominant, and I was able to, I had to go through those growing pains those first 4 years of, my NFL career, but then those last 4 seasons, I was able to, I guess you would say 2011, 12, and 13. It's really amazing to play with the defense where, across the board, from defensive line to linebackers to linebackers. From defensive line to linebackers to DBs were just, amazing. And so to see those guys, the team they had in 2019 it was, or what was it, 18, or whenever it was they went to the Super Bowl, I mean, that defense was on point. And, to see them have a down year like they did last year, but to still see a guy, or guys such as, Fred and Dre still continue to, lead those guys in that defensive line, especially them having the injuries they had across the board, continue to play as well as they did. And the DBs didn't play too bad as well. They actually played really well. So I am excited for their defense and what they will be able to do once they get all their pieces together. And I know, the offense is going to do their thing as well. So I'm excited for D'Amico as well. I know it's a big opportunity for him, and just very excited. SEC guy. So let's go.
Hey, Pat, long time no see. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Just wanted to know, now that we're about 12 hours after the news has been released, what's been the reaction? Have you heard from a lot of former teammates or maybe current 49ers? What has it been like?
It's been, I've gotten a lot of, with social media, I've gotten messages, a lot of congratulations. And truthfully, this is for anyone, as I said before, who had a part in this journey, especially the faithful. This is for them. I take a part of them with me, and it's just been, it's been amazing to get the love, to receive the love, and I give it back to them all. So I appreciate them all.
Patrick, I have 2 questions for you. One of them, because you just mentioned D'Amico, how long have you known D'Amico? And just did you always think of him, since you've known him, as a guy who is, on that track to be a coach and maybe even someday a head coach? The other thing is probably not as great of a topic for you. You've often talked about your feet. Have you ever been told, what was wrong with your feet, and have they given you problems after football? Have you had to have other surgeries? Just how are you able to kind of get around life now with your feet?
All right, Matt, you gave me two amazing questions, and all right, let me start with the D'Amico. The D'Amico, I've been a fan of his since college. Playing in the SEC, him playing at Alabama, me playing at Ole Miss. Obviously, Alabama was, is the school. Got a lot of hype, but rightfully so. And D'Amico was one of those guys. I remember as a junior, I think it was, and he was a senior, but he was with that senior class of A.J. Hawk and some other guys. And I was thinking about coming out that year, but I was dealing with the injury, actually a foot injury in college then. And so I decided to stay in, but I was kind of aware of those guys a little bit. And obviously, once I was drafted, I was, kind of, I don't want to say follow him, but I was aware, I was aware of, other guys throughout the league, and just a big fan of what he was doing in Houston. And he just always reminded me of, from afar, reminded me of a guy that would be just like a very amazing coach by the way he, commanded the field, worked with the field, worked with his teammates. And, I never heard of anything, out of the way about him. So, you know, I'm excited for what he'll do. I'm excited for the potential that I know that he possesses, but obviously potential is just potential. But, you know, I feel like those guys are really going to buy into, you know, what he has. And I think it's already similar things. He might put a little bit of his own touch, which, you know, again, I'm excited to see. So, yeah, wishing him nothing but the best. And then with my feet, you know, the thing with my feet was, you know, and I didn't talk about it a lot, and I won't really get into a whole lot of details now, but I was kind of battling my feet early on, and there was some conversations, you know, had at that time where I was kind of like, hey, listen, you know, I feel like I want to get these things, you know, worked on, because both of them was just as bad. And that's the one thing that I couldn't really, you know, say a whole lot on. I know people are like, it's just a feat, like just a freaking toe, get it better. But that wasn't the case. It was almost equivalent to ACL in my big toes and whatnot. And, you know, of course, anyone who has like a bunion on your big toes, you know how bad those can feel, especially if you're flat footed as it is. And so that's where all my torque and everything I push off of. And so it was after I had my surgery. I mean, it was bad. I really tried my best to push through that month. I say, you know what, as all the injuries I've ever had, I was like, you know, I'm going to push through it. You know, I'm going to, you know, mind over matter. But for whatever reason, this right here was just not the case. It was almost as if I had known, that with my feet said enough, that's when I would, you know, have to hang them up. So, but long story short, you know, the doc had told me, he said, wow, what told the person who was there with me at the surgery, said, you know, wow, I cannot believe, you know, he was able to play with his, you know, with his toe like that. You know, it was worse than we thought. And I was like, man, when she told me that, I just remember saying to myself, like, you know, if you ask my teammates what was the one thing I complained about, you know, and I try not to complain. I'm a very grateful person, but man, you know, the way these feet felt, you know, again, mostly in the big toes and whatnot, you know, it was just at the point where I was like, man, it was taken away from my mental side of the game. It was just, you know, it was that point where I tell anyone, it's not life itself, but it's when you start dealing with a bunch of aggravating stuff that just won't go away, that life starts to get a nuisance and aggravating, and you just start being like angry at stuff or whatnot. And I just didn't want to be that type of player, along with knowing that my other toe was just as bad, and them saying, at some point, you're gonna have to get surgery on your other one too. And I'm like, hell no, man, I don't want to be retired, excuse my language, but I don't want to be retired and having to go get more and more surgeries, as I've seen, guys, have to do throughout, after their retirement. So, so they're not bad. Obviously, I've learned how to, listen to myself. Like still, I try to stay active, but that, I can do that. I can still be active, but I know how much, to give and when to be like, okay, that's enough. So, but yeah, I'm well. I'm not waking up thinking about, man, I'm gonna have to go put on these cleats and, be on this turf, or man, we have to play. Matter of fact, speaking of whomever it was, forgive me, that asked me about the last, about remembering the jerseys. My first time putting it on and the last time putting it on. And one thing I remember about that game, October 13th, was thinking to myself the whole week leading up into that game, Monday Night Football, was, man, we're going to be playing on turf. Man, the stage is going to be, it's going to be on me. Man, just all the stuff that I would think about when I have to go play on turf, because I really play on grass because it wasn't as bad on my feet. But I just remember saying to myself, like, just praying, Lord, just let my feet hold up. And I never forget that game. If you go back and, watch it, or even talk to Manny, I could not get my feet situated at all that game. Like, I just couldn't, no spat work. It's like I couldn't get my feet comfortable. And that's when I was just like, man, how much more longer can I keep this up? It's like on the outside looking in, it's like, oh man, he looks amazing. But I was like, so anyways, a lot of that, again, just remembering what it was, just remember what it was like, those many thoughts on my feet and whatnot. So, yeah.
All right, we'll do our last one.
Patrick, what's the biggest influence had on your life off?
I'm sorry. How?
What's the biggest impact the 49ers have had on your life off the field?
What's the biggest impact that the 49ers have had on my life off the field? At this moment, you know, it's you know, it's still I feel like it's still a lot of life, knock on wood, left, and so I feel like we've yet to have, you know, that. I'm just, you know, I'm grateful for the moments and times that we, you know, have conversations, whether it be with Jed or whether it be for moments like, you know, this or other little moments that, you know, I get back up there and do some fan engagement or whatnot. But, you know, I think it's just, you know, I don't know. I don't expect anything. I don't ask for too much. You know, I had a job to do and I just try to do it at the best of my abilities at a high level. And you know, looking back, I hope that I made them proud, you know, wearing that jersey, and the fans and just anyone who was associated with the organization. But yeah, it's not one thing I can just think of off the top of my head outside of just, you know, them saying, "No, you're always welcome." So.
Apologies, Pat. We'll actually sneak one more in here.
Yeah, please.
Hey, Patrick, congratulations. William Hammond Sports Fans Rapper. And it's good to see you still got that great smile and attitude. What have you learned about yourself since you've been away from the game? And then also your thoughts on the social activity that the players have been involved in. Now it's a little different from when you were in the game, and just give me your thoughts on those two things.
Yeah, well, sports fan and rap. Thanks for coming on. Man, what have I learned about myself? I've learned a lot. You know, I've learned a lot about myself. You know, a lot of soul searching. You know, just a lot of, you know, I've always been a person who likes to, you know, think a lot as it is, and so just, you know, learning a lot about myself. What would I say? Yeah, that's the everyday thing. And then I'm sorry, what was the last question? The second question?
The second question was involving the social activeness of the players these days. You know, they've been involved in a lot of opinions on a lot of the social activities that's taking place, you know, around the country. What are your thoughts on that? The importance of it, and since you didn't get a chance, or you guys weren't doing that as much at that time, but you know, these guys are pretty vocal now.
Yeah. You know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, it's said that, you know, we have freedom of speech here. You know, with that being said, you know, I feel like everyone has a perspective or opinion to have an opinion. For me, you know, I've just been the type of person that I don't know, I would say I've learned to be more silent than, you know, just outspoken, unless there's something that's deep down inside of me that has to come out. And with that being said, I'm the type of person that when I do speak about something, I would have to have had knowledge on it, you know, done my own research, you know, try to have some kind of, so I can have some kind of solid ground to stand on. Again, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world. There's a lot of, you know, noise, and, you know, I just try not to get too caught up in it. However, you know, I have my own personal opinions here and there. You know, I don't try to go out and make them be heard. However, if someone asks, you know, I try to deviate a little bit, but, you know, I'm also, you know, a type of person that I have to be who I am and you know, say the 2 cents that I do have, you know, if I'm asked, I suppose. But yeah, to each his own. Yeah. Jennifer, is it? Sorry.
Patrick, can you just tell us what your Instagram handle means?
My program handle, which
What your Instagram handle means?
Oh. Yeah, so I'm working at this moment of, starting my, I would say, I want to say corporation. I'm a little shy to say it, but it's more of a philosophical brain, because as I say, I like to think a lot. And not only do I like to think, but after you've lived a little bit, experienced a little bit, you begin to have your own thoughts. You begin to have your, think on your own. You begin to, have your you have your beliefs. You have your, again, you have your own philosophical thoughts or whatnot. And I'm the type of person that I've always listened to others or read others and try to take a little bit from each person. So, but my name kind of comes about, it's the Winker's Mind, and what it is two words, put together. I always say we like to think, like anybody, you have thoughts and you find yourself thinking, and that's how, that's how I am. And so I began to just, ask myself, like, where are these thoughts coming from? Going back to sports family, asking what have I learned about myself, and really it's just learning a lot about, why I think the way that I think, why do I move the way that I move, why do I make the decisions the way that I make them? And so with that being said, I was reading some stuff, and I think I came across some Old English, and the Old English was something like, they speak from hence and from whence, and so I was looking at the words and I was like, from hence, from hence something comes meant like from here, and from whence meant like from where, and so I just said from, where do I think these things, or where do I think these thoughts? I'm like, they come from within, and so I just, put whence and hence together, and that's where you get the Winker's Mind. So, I know it's a little bit more to it, but again, that's, that's that side of me that, that's beyond the game of just X and O's or whatnot. I like to think, metaphysical and quantum physical and sacred geometry and just, all that fun stuff that makes my mind feel intrigued.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Pat. Congrats again.
And if I can, I've said it before, and I, said a little bit in my quote, but again, to everyone who had a part in this journey, especially, to my family, highs, lows, in betweens, I'm grateful. My roots are my roots, and I'm grateful for them, for everyone, and the journey has been amazing. And to the faithful, thank you all for just your love and support in all my years with the Niners. To the organization, I thank them, and just I don't know if I said this before or said it out loud, but to the chefs, man, to Manny, to the equipment guys who had to deal with me and my feet 24/7, the equipment guys, Doc, Steve, it goes on to Manny, to Nate, to Ferg. I mean, those would be the guys if you ever want to ask, like, man, what was his feet like? I know they can't really speak on it for, medical sakes or whatnot, but they would be able to tell you, like, man, we had our times. So yeah, so to everyone, I really do appreciate it. And shout out to Brian Young, because I found out, that he had made it into the 49ers Hall of Fame as well, but because of the pandemic, wasn't able to, give him that love. And BY is someone that, I have extreme respect for. And so congrats to him, and to John Taylor, man. It's funny how it's a full circle now, because these are some guys that, I've been a younger guy, having, they come back for different functions, and you see them and you talk to them, and you get a little bit then, but then just the more time you do it, you realize, like, man, I would have loved to have been this guy's teammate, these guys' teammates, the older guys who came before me. And John Taylor was one of the ones that every time I see him, man, I love just listening to him talk and hearing his many stories, and to be going into the 49ers Hall of Fame with him, truly honored. He's a person he's a person that I think it was after the 2012 season, I was watching the path to the Super Bowls that, the 49ers, I forget what they call that. But I was watching, I would watch those, watching how they talk about one another, watch how they talk about the seasons. But you know how there's always that one person that me personally, again, I grew up a Cowboys fan, but with that being said, you know who Jerry Rice was, and all respect to great Jerry Rice. You know who Steve Young, Joe Montana, Tom Rapp, you hear who those guys was, but I was watching film and I would see this guy catching balls, like catching slants and getting hit and taking it to the house. And this is how I've always been since I was a kid. Like, I had guys who you like, who you heard the big names that you'd be like, oh, of course you don't like them. But I was also a big fan of those guys who you just watch the game and you'd be like, man, that guy right there gives it everything he got every play. That guy right there, they don't talk about him, they don't say his name a lot, but I'm noticing that guy right there, like he's always doing something, to make big plays. And so anyways, I would watch him, I'm watching these back-to-back, runs to the Super Bowl, or these runs to the Super Bowl, and I'm seeing this guy catch out. It wasn't number 80. I seen this other guy catching passes and taking it to the house, and I was like, man, this guy here is really good. Like, how come I don't hear anything? Like, how come I don't hear anybody talking about this, whoever this fella is? And then before you know it, like, after 2013, there's been times where we've been in the same place, and I've been able to talk to him and just realizing that, man, this is the same guy, and then just seeing just his personality. I'm honored. It's not even so much about, Patrick going into the 49ers Hall of Fame, as grateful as I am, but really just, going in with a guy like that, knowing the BY, was the year before, and then just, being in there the other day, doing an interview with Keanu, it was just, it was amazing to just feel all that energy and history in there, and just to be a part of that now. Again, I'm gonna stop rambling, but again, thank you all to all the media who covered it or whatnot. I appreciate you all as well. Try to be, before I keep on going, thank y'all pretty much.